Well, welcome to another Purple Insider Extra. Reminder to listen to our longer conversations wherever you get your podcast, breaking down the NFL draft. Just type in Purple Insider or use the link below. And by the way, if you want to get our 72-page draft guide, go to purpleinsider.substack.com. Sign up for even just 1 month. You get the draft guide and all of our draft coverage. All right, Sam Ekstrom. Let's talk a little bit about day 3. There's so much focused on the first round, but we have seen the Minnesota Vikings get some steals and significant players later in the draft. Is there someone or someones that you are targeting, think that the Vikings should draft when we get to day 3?
Yeah, we made the case on the website today being Tuesday, that there's a chance, an outside chance, the Vikings consider corner in the first round with all the pending free agents they have coming up and Jeff Gladney's situation. But if they make a traditional expected pick, not corner in the first round, if they want to wait on corner, I think if you wait until early day 3, cross your fingers that Eric Stokes is there for one of your 4 fourth-round picks, because he's a corner out of Georgia who had 3, I think, really solid years in the SEC. He can play on the outside. He's over 6 feet tall, almost 200 pounds, so he's got a good frame on him. His speed, 4.31 in the 40. That's crazy speed for someone of his height. So he's agile. He's not like a little 5'9" guy. He's got some girth to him. And his passer rating against in as an outside corner last year, per PFF, 37.1. 4 interceptions, no touchdowns allowed. That's a guy I like on my team, and he kind of checks the box of he's gone up against some really good competition in the SEC, and he's proven it over multiple years. So I'm hoping that Eric Stokes falls into round 4, and the Vikings can snatch him up.
You know, I even think in round 3, maybe he might be worth a pick if they don't get a corner, because he is a very good prospect, but especially in round 4, where the Vikings tend to own round 4. I think they have, 4 picks in 4th round. Yeah. That makes for some exciting draft simulations when you get to that round. Another guy at corner is Benjamin St-Juste from Minnesota, who has been talked about quite a bit. He also fits that lengthy profile and height that Mike Zimmer might like. Had a good Senior Bowl as well. And speaking of the Senior Bowl, my guy is Cade Johnson. Go Jackrabbits, South Dakota State. Another one where I had not heard his name before the Senior Bowl, and then all of a sudden at Senior Bowl practices, he starts to elevate himself and make a name for himself. But somebody from South Dakota State might have a tough chance to get drafted earlier than the 4th round. And I also think, Sam, tell me if you disagree, that just like corner, if the Vikings do not address wide receiver before day 3, then I think they should go with the 4th round day 3 player, because they've been going 5th, 6th, 7th with wide receivers. And aside from Stephon Diggs once upon a time, they just haven't had a whole lot of luck there.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, I think that this is, again, a good receiver draft, and there is depth beyond the first round. Unfortunately, I think round 2 is going to be incredible, and the Vikings might get shut out of this. But, like if Rondale Moore or Elijah Moore drop, Terrace Marshall could be kind of on that late first, early second line. Jalen Darden's going to be there on day 2. De'Ami Brown out of North Carolina is a phenomenal prospect. He won't last past the second round. So the Vikings might miss out on some of those guys, but I do think that they can address it and should address it in the middle rounds if they have a chance, and not wait until, the Rodney Adams pick or the Stacey Coley pick in rounds 5, 6, and 7. Because like you said, they've got one success story, and that was 6 years ago now. Like, it's a long time since the Stephon Diggs pick, and they really haven't had a hit since then, unless you count BC Johnson a little bit. And what's interesting too, Coller, is the way the Vikings have addressed corner and receiver, the 2 positions we've just mentioned, in the first round over the years. Of their last 11 first-round picks, 7 have been corner or wide receiver, which I laid out in today's story. So that's something that they usually take care of in the early rounds. They don't have as much success in those later rounds.
So what do you want to see from the overall approach to day 3? Because I'd like to see this. Long shots on guards, start taking multiple guards. They just haven't done this a whole lot. You have your Drew Samia, your Kyle Hinton, your Colby Gossett, but that's about it. And I think that every once in a while, what you'll see is a 4th, 5th, 6th round guard sort of slip through the cracks as everyone looks for those higher value positions. But guard is a very high value position for the Vikings. And I just think that they need more poker chips to try and win with that, or more lottery tickets, whatever the metaphor is. They just haven't taken a bunch of those players, and they've spent usually at least 1 pick per year on a specialist. That would be my other thing. Like, the do's are take long shots on offensive linemen. The don'ts are do not draft a kicker, do not draft a punter. But I almost feel like one of those two is a foregone conclusion, that they probably will draft a kicker.
I'm going to say something crazy right now. I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world to draft a kicker. Here's why. I think their process in identifying kickers has been okay. Like, Blair Walsh was a phenomenal rookie and had some good years with the Vikings, and then he came unhinged because of some, obviously missing the kick in the playoffs, but moving the extra point back, having an outdoor stadium for 2 years, he kind of came off the rails. Daniel Carlson, based on what we know now, was a great prospect, and he had a great training camp, and the team probably overreacted to that. So they might actually know what they're doing when they identify kickers. And if you want to have continuity at that position ever, I think you might need to find someone young that you can have on the team for 4 years who can sort of become your franchise kicker. Otherwise, you're going to have a revolving door there. So there's my defense of taking a kicker. In terms of the wholesale strategy, they've got 8 picks on day 3 scheduled. I'm sure that'll become more. Rick Spielman has a tendency to do these things. He's going to trade back into the 7th round, and because he doesn't have one right now. That said, you've got 4 in the 4th and 2 in the 5th. So with those 6, I think pretty valuable picks, I'd like to see secondary addressed somehow. If you haven't taken a safety, I want them to take a safety. I want them to, like you said, add some offensive line depth, and don't get discouraged by the 4th round flops. They've missed on Willie Beavers, TJ Clemmings, Drew Samia in the 4th round. Don't get discouraged. Keep trying. Maybe, look at a different type of prospect if you have to. Change your process a little bit, but keep trying to hit, because you need to at some point if you're going to build out this offensive line in a real way that has depth.
I also think that in a draft that is not super deep overall because of the sheer number of prospects who even came out of college this year, trading up back into the 3rd as opposed to trading out of the 3rd and getting more 4ths might be a better strategy this year, and instead of trying to get as many 7th as you can. Also, I'm not sold or convinced by your argument with kicker, but we'll see. I think they side with you. That would be my guess, is that they will take a kicker on day 3. But I think if this is the year for Trader Rick to change his strategy and start moving up a little bit, that's what they should do. So this is another Purple Insider Extra. Make sure you listen to our full podcast wherever you get your podcast, Purple Insider, and go to purpleinsider.substack.com, and we'll catch you next time.